Hello everyone, welcome to the FanFic Critic. Today we're going to be taking a look at not one but two Legend of Zelda fanfiction. Well, before we move forward, I need to address something. It hasn't been mentioned in the comments of the last video yet, but keep in mind this is being filmed the day after and I'm posting once a week, so someone might mention this before this episode gets uploaded, so I'm going to address it now. This is not a mistake. I need glasses. The person who plays us wears glasses in real life, and the eyesight has gotten worse over the years. In the old web series, I didn't wear glasses, and in Fic Time with Susan and Sequel Ramblings, I didn't wear glasses, and in Fic Time with Susan, it was a struggle not wearing the glasses when you're staring at a computer screen, reading a very long story. Strains your eyes after a while, so even though these reviews are going to be summarized, I am going to keep wearing the glasses because I can see without them, but it's hard. And I always look like I'm squinting. I look like Randall from Monsters, Inc. So I'm going to wear the glasses. Hopefully that's not too off-putting for you people who are familiar with the old web series. Susan wears glasses now, so yes. Okay, that's enough breaking character. Let's get back into the swing of things. So the two Legend of Zelda fanfics I'm going to be reading are Breath of the Wild fanfics, and they're both one-shots. They're relatively short, so that's why this is going to be a double feature fanfic review. The episode will probably still be short. I hope that won't be a problem. So the first story is called Alone. The second story is called In a Big Country. We're going to be talking about Alone first. So the author of Alone is Leah90912, and the story is rated T, although I honestly feel like it should be rated M, and I will tell you in a tad. So the story starts off with Link. He's making his way to Zora's domain. It takes place shortly after he gets off the plateau and after he's gone to Kakariko Village and after coming across Yiga clan members. And, he has an inner monologue. The story is first person, by the way. He has an inner monologue about how alone he is. He talks about how with other people, the sound of nature around them is probably comforting and uplifting. But with him, it's just reminding him that he's utterly alone, that he has to save a land that he doesn't know about, that he has like this voice in his head telling him what he needs to do. But he doesn't know what he should be doing. Like, he's kind of like a shell. He describes himself as like a shell because he has no memories. He's a no one. So after a while, he notices that there's this girl that's following him. And at first he thinks that she might be a Yiga clan member. But after a while, he figures that she isn't because she isn't trying to attack him or anything of that matter. So eventually she catches up to him and introduces herself as Alara. He's still a little wary of her and doesn't really talk to her, but she doesn't mind, and she just keeps talking, keeping him company, going on about her hopes and dreams and whatnot. And, Link admires her for that. He likes her. He likes hearing about her life story. He likes hearing about what she wants to do and where she wants to go. She's very excited about going to Zora's domain and, how she was told about it when she was a wee girl, and, she's always wanted to see it, and that sounds very beautiful. And after a while, Link does open up to her. He does talk to her. He tells her what his name is. And, she's, very happy about that and whatnot. And so one night they decide to set up camp. And it's all fine. And then all of a sudden Link notices something off in the bushes. He sees like a flash of red and he tells her to run. And he does so in the nick of time because they get ambushed by the Yiga clan. Now he's fighting off the Yiga clan members. He sees her running off, so he thinks that she escapes. So he's fighting them off. And this is where the story, I really feel, should have been rated M, because not only is there swearing, like I think the F-bomb is dropped a couple of times, which is very off-putting, but I can understand why they had the swearing in there, but to me it was a bit off-putting because, hello, it's Legend of Zelda. But I digress. There's also some pretty descriptive deaths, like Link is described as decapitating one of the Yiga clan members. He lops off the arm of another. It's very descriptive, so I honestly feel like it should have been rated M, but that's just my opinion. So, Link is forced to stop fighting the Yiga clan because the Blade Master managed to capture Alara. and he gets punched and he's like being held down by the surviving Yiga clan members, and the Blade Master is like slowly approaching him menacingly with, the poor girl in his grasp. He has her by the hair, and she's like utterly terrified, and he's talking about how he's gonna kill everyone that Link knows and loves, that wherever Link goes, the Yiga clan will follow, and they will kill everyone in their wake, and that it will all be Link's fault. So he pretty much admits that he's definitely going to kill this girl, but he's going to have some fun with her first, as in he's going to rape her. So he goes to start undressing her, and that's when she fights back. She bites him. She manages to escape, but unfortunately, he gets her brutally in the back with his sword and practically slices her back open. Yes. And to Link's horror, he watches her slowly die in front of him. And at this point, it's described as Link seeing red, and he just massacres the remaining Yiga clan members, including the Blade Master. And, he's staring down at Alara's body, and he's like, she's never going to reach her goal now. She's never going to see the world, and she's dead, and it's all his fault. I mean, it's not his fault, but he blames himself. So he buries her, and he sadly makes his way back on his path to go to Zora's domain. And like how the story opens, the story closes with him in a monologue talking about how he is alone. It's a very sad story, but it's very, very well written. And aside from the inappropriate rating for the story and the swearing, I did enjoy this story very much. And I could see this scenario happening in Breath of the Wild itself, especially if the game had a higher rating. So I would recommend it. The story will be in the link in the description below. It is a one-shot, but it is implied that it's connected to other one-shots that the author has posted. I don't know if the author has posted these one-shots on this account, because they do mention that they have an AO3 account and that the stories are on there. I believe the author did link their AO3 account either on their profile page or in the story itself. So if you go to their profile, I'm sure you can find the link to their AO3 account, and you can look at their other stories from there. So moving on, we're going to take a look at the next fanfic, In a Big Country. Yes, interesting. It's, this one. The author of this one is Superior Generations, and it's rated M. You can take a wild guess what that means. Not rated M for violence, rated M for, yes. This one takes place after the Calamity, and it's about Link and Zelda exploring Hyrule to try to build it back to the kingdom that it once was. It starts off innocent enough. I do feel like, and I'll address this immediately, that both Link and Zelda are very out of character in this story. Like, it's described in the beginning how Zelda is very playful with Link and gets very snuggly and cuddly with him, which it's like, okay, they did not do that at all in the game. I mean, I do feel like the game implied that Zelda had growing feelings for Link, but, she was still appropriate about it. And to me, it kind of felt one-sided because Link is a blank slate. I honestly feel like in this series, at least, Link is asexual, but that's just my opinion. But anyway, it's described as her being very cuddly with him in the story, and how he acts in the story is very off-putting as well. So let's just get into the dive of it. So they go to set up camp, and Zelda wants to go off and bathe, and Link is going to go off and hunt for sticks so he can make a fire later so he can cook them dinner. So he's trying to avoid the area that she's in because he doesn't want to ogle at her bathing, but of course he ends up finding where she is, and he does just that, ogles at her while she's bathing. Like, going into detail about her breasts and her body, and it's like, Link wouldn't do this, and it was just kind of like, okay. And Link gets mad at himself, and he runs off into the woods, and is acting very, I don't know, it's just... So we fast forward to the evening. She's happily eating his food that he had cooked, and she's going on about, before the Calamity, before he lost his memories, he was an awful cook, and now he's a fantastic cook and whatnot. So after she eats, she tries to cuddle with him, and he's kind of being very standoffish with her, like, kind of being mean about it. So she's like, oh no, did I do something wrong? And she tries to confront him on it, and Link shoves her to the ground and then tries to run off, and then he trips. And it's like, okay, Link would not shove Zelda to the ground. He's her appointed knight. he would not act like that. But then again, how she's acting in the story, she wouldn't act like that either, but I digress. So she goes after him, and, she sees that his clothes are all torn and whatnot, and he's going on about how he is a failure as a knight, and she's like, no, you're not, just tell me what's wrong. So he finally admits to ogling at her while she was bathing. So how does Zelda react? Does she get mad and tell him off and slap him across the face? No. What she does is that she undoes her shirt, undoes her bra, and then plops her boobs on his face. And this is where the M rating comes in. And I'm going to say this now. If there's any children in the audience, get out. This web series is not for children. What are you doing here? Get out. Thank you. So long. Farewell. Come back when you're 18. I guess if you're 16, it's okay because you're a teenager, but still. Anyway. So, she starts to grind up against him. She gets a reaction from him, as in he pops a tent. And she's like, oh, you're a very naughty knight. And, she's tasing him, and it starts to get very, descriptive. And then, eventually she pops him out, and they, do the da-da-da-da-da. And he's a little too quick for her liking. I mean, she does still, but it was just barely. And she makes a comment about, oh, you need to work on your stamina. And he's like, oh, I wouldn't mind trying again. And the story ends with her saying, it's like, yeah, we don't have to try it again right now. And that's just, the story just abruptly ends. And it's like, yes. Yeah. I mean, the story was well written. I'll give it that. It was definitely not my cup of tea, though. The characters were out of character, and the sex scene, it wasn't over the top, but it was, it just doesn't feel appropriate. Like, I don't see the scenario happening at all. Maybe if they're older, and, maybe if, he wasn't her appointed knight, like, this relationship is inappropriate in a sense. I mean, with it being post the calamity, I guess Zelda could do whatever she wants. If she really wanted to be with Link, she could, because it's not like her father's around to say, no, you can't. I mean, his ghost is around, but again, he's a ghost. What can he do? Just, stare at them menacingly in ghost form while they're doing the act? I digress. But I don't know. If you want to read a story to get you off, to get you in the mood, I would recommend this story because it does just that. But if you want to read a story that's, actually quality when it comes to, the story and whatnot, Alone is a much better pick. I'm not dissing on the author of this story. It was well written. I just felt like the characters were very out of character, and just the story itself was not my cup of tea. But like I said before, the link will be in the description below. I do recommend you check out the story yourselves, and be sure to check out these authors' other work, just to give them some support. I'm hoping that with this revival of the web series, that I'm going to bring attention to stories that are not bad, that are actually good, and, get them out there. I mean, the old web series did do that somewhat, but it had a lot of bad stories on it. And this series will have bad stories, obviously, or just bizarre stories, but I do want to have some good ones there in the mix. So that's why I chose these two stories. Although one of them wasn't my cup of tea, it wasn't a bad story. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, please be sure to leave a like and a comment, and be sure to subscribe. I will see you all next week, hopefully. Until then, cheerio.